This is the year that God has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. So, today we are going to talk about how to parent with a growth strategy. The growth that counts is not in years. The growth that counts is not in years. Many children growing up today look big on the outside. They are growing in height, growing taller because they are eating, right? They are eating well, they are sleeping well. They are on the average increasing in their body size. But true growth has nothing to do with how tall or how short somebody is. It is not about human height and weight. True growth may not be about what is happening on a child outside alone. So, in as much as it's important to, pay attention to what how much sleep children are having and how much food they are eating and all of that, and how healthy it is important to pay attention to the fact that growth is not simply marking birthdays. Growth is not simply celebrating birthdays or the passing of years, which are all good. We need to celebrate those milestones, but growth is not the passage of time. Growth is on the inside. It is the work that goes on anybody's inside. It is a transformational journey. Growth is transformation. Transformation is change in one's lifestyle, one's thought pattern, one's habits. And this requires work. It is not automatic. Unlike the kind of growth that we see with children from teenage years to from childhood, an infant becomes a toddler. From being a toddler, the person becomes a young pre school age child, and then from there he's ready to go to secondary school, to the college, and all that transition is based on an understanding that the educational system has, that every year you need to advance in knowledge. But the reason why we are emphasizing here today that growth is not just about how a person looks on the physical is because that one happens more naturally, more automatically. But the growth that I am talking about today requires that what we pay attention to the work happening on our inside. There are times that we'll see some adults and we'll be like, this adult is behaving like a child. Why do we have that kind of impression? Why is it that years of experience for a person or a years of life, the number of days a person has lived should not count as growth? Why? Now, I know that a lot of people say experience is the best teacher, but the thing about experience is this: you don't have to touch fire to know that it's hot. Yes, because that's how experiencing the heat of the fire does not necessarily make you alive. To say the story, you can get burnt while trying to really test if the thing called fire is hot or not. So it's actually the experience that matters. It is the evaluated experience that matters, the experience that you learn from, which now transforms you from the inside. That is true growth. The experience that you are able to stick to a task until you see it is finished. Why is it that you cannot do a job without being supervised? Why? It is a growth issue. Why is that there are some adults that cannot do things without problems arising in between? It is a gap. It's a growth issue. So many adults spend not only the money they have, even the monies that they don't have, they spend it. Why? It is all about mindset. It's a growth issue. So when we understand that there is a level of maturity that comes with responsibility, there's a level of growth that comes with responsibility. That's when we'll know that age is nothing but a number. That's why there is an adage that says a fool at 40 is a fool forever, because maturity does not come with age. And that maturity that we're actually talking about is a sense of responsibility. Lack of personal growth in many people is the reason for many immature behaviors. When people behave in funny ways, we say he behaves childishly, is quite immature. She's quite immature. And we see that amongst us every day today. So age is not golden, except it comes with measures of maturity. And when you lack empathy, there is no growth. And although years may pass, when we talk about time, time is just a resource that a lot of us need to learn how to utilize. Many people feel overwhelmed. Many people feel overworked. Many people are stressed out because their time is choked up. They are so busy. Are you so busy that you think your children are still small and so you still have time? You still have time to pay attention to the important things that you need to teach them. From 0 to 18 years, there are just less than 900 Saturdays. Less than 900 Saturdays, and it feels like those are lots of Saturdays. But think about it, in a year, we have 365 days, meaning that in actuality, if you work from Monday to Friday and you are able to like utilize your weekends, maybe more with your children, you have less than 900 weekends to spend between the 0 to 18 years of your child's life. So, what if you had to work on weekends? What if you come back from work or you are even at home, but you're really not present? You're always on your phone, always watching TV, always busy, and your child has no access to you. What if that is the case? And to be honest, I understand that in this part of the world and anywhere else, work is important. Man was created to work. But if we are not able to make time for what we want to say is important to us, what we say is important to us, are we really working? And is that work really effective? If you're not making time for your children today, you are wasting a resource that has been given to you freely by God. And it doesn't come easy. Yes, time management is all about placing priorities and obeying the law of essentialism. What is important in the now? It's not about quantity, but quality. Most of the times we spend time with children, the whole time we spend with them is about rebuking, condemning, criticizing, and complaining. You have not done this. You, at your age, you can't do this. You can't do that. And that is negative feedback. What quality time is actually spent in complaining, in criticizing, and dehumanizing and humiliating a child, hollering at a child, you know, that's why I focus on our parent child relationship and we use that kit to help our relationship with our children. And I think it's something that is very helpful because why am I stressing on time so much? Time requires growth. You need to pay the price, and the time that you need to pay is that price. Like, time is the price to pay for the kind of growth that you want to have, whether it's in gaining a skill, whether it's in putting in effort to how you communicate, whatever it is, deep down, each of us like things to be served on a platter of gold. I would rather prefer to play than to work. That's the truth. But I have learned that I get to work and I love to work because growth requires the work. Growth takes effort. Nobody in history is ever remembered for living an easy life. Nobody in history is ever remembered for living, a life that is just full of play. The lifetime people are celebrated for are because they use the time in their lives. What did I say? The lifetime that people are celebrated for are because they used and utilized the time, the allowance of 24 hours that they have, the minutes and seconds of their life, they made it to count. Let's talk about people like Nelson Mandela, Catherine Kuhlman, all these people. Jesus Christ, even the Lord Jesus Christ, when he didn't live for 130 years, he did not live for 50 years, he did not live for 40 years. He lived for less than 35 years. And he lived a life that made time count. His lifetime counted for something because he understood. He would say that this is the daytime. The night comes when no man can work, because it's all about work. Growth occurs to those who want to grow. Growth occurs to those who want to grow. If you're here and you don't desire personal growth, you can as well just go. You can just fall out of this meeting already, because I thank God that you're here, because you are listening, you appear to desire that you want to grow. If your parenting is at its peak, oh, thank God for you. You cannot place value on personal growth for your children learning about sex education, learning to potty train your children, and all those things. People who don't want to be great, they stay small, they don't grow. People who don't want to be great, they talk about things. They are always on social media, scrolling through their phones. Growth occurs for those who plan to grow. You have to be deliberate. You have to want to grow. You have to plan to grow. What is your plan for your personal growth? How are you planning towards your personal growth? Because it doesn't come easy. It doesn't always come like on a platter of gold. It comes at a price. It comes at a price. Growth will cost you something. It will cost you your time. It will cost you your money. It will cost you discipline. Start with yourself. I ask and push people who tell me about their goals. Why are you on your goals? What are you doing about your goals? Do you know why? That's just because I understand the role that it plays in their growth. Goals without growth will not be realistic. And we're talking about goals in the new year. Everybody's like, oh, I have a goal. I have to set goals. But we should think about, it's not always about what we want to get, what we want to achieve, but what about who we want to become? What is changing on our inside? Growth plan is about making actions that help us to gravitate towards who we are becoming. So it is growth that speaks to who you are becoming. It is growth that speaks to who you are becoming. It is growth that speaks to who you are becoming. Growth is about change. And I first of all explain every time that I'm not here to talk about changing anybody or changing the world. I am all about changing myself. As a parent, you have a growth plan. As a person, you have a growth plan. I myself, I have a growth plan. I want to grow myself. I said I need to change every day. My goal is to change every day. I need to change myself every day. If you want your spouse to change yourself. If you want the world to change yourself. If you want your children to change yourself. If you want your neighbors to change yourself. It is a work in progress, and I'm not there yet. I'm not perfect. I don't come here feeling like I am infallible and I don't make mistakes. No, that's not the essence. That's not it. That's not it. That's far from it. So I was saying that growth takes time. It takes time, and it pays attention to who we are becoming. Are we willing to actually become better in terms of, let's say, even if it means taking instructions from someone that we consider a little girl, someone that is younger than us? Because if you're waiting for money, if you're waiting for time, if you're waiting for somebody else before you grow, you will wait very long. If you're saying, "Oh, I'm very busy, I don't have time," you will not grow like that. If you're waiting for somebody to be the one pushing you every single time, you will not grow like that. If you say, "Oh, I don't have the money," every time, you will remain stuck. It's good to set goals, though. Don't get me wrong. Everybody is all about vision 2025, goal setting 2025. It's good. Growth is not just about goals. And that's what I just want to, help us to understand. I am very passionate about understanding that if I am unwilling to change in the things that I do, I can't expect a better result. And so I'm always looking for ways to be flexible and make a lot of mistakes. But I learn from them. And then by learning, learn to reduce the number of mistakes I make on some certain levels, because I want to grow. It's a process. It's not like it's an achievement. There's no place that you reach, there's no heights that you reach now. You say, yes, I have grown on my inside, intellectually, physically, spiritually enough. It's a long term journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not a short term result oriented kind of thing. Growth is long term oriented. Growth is long term oriented. I'm not afraid of growing today. And even if it means growing slowly, just make sure that you are not afraid of growing. Sometimes it is as if things are happening and making efforts. I feel like I'm growing on the inside, but I'm not seeing the physical changes on my outside. And people are telling me, I think you're making some landmark. But the thing is, the seeds or the fruit you're seeing today may be seeds of growth that has been nurtured and sown years ago. And so if I keep working on, how there is a plant. Our lives are just like a plant. In a farm, in a garden, there are many varieties of plants. And if you choose to farm a garden, a particular crop or plant, with those plants, naturally we grow weeds. It is your responsibility to pluck them out and say, I'm pruning, I'm making, nurturing, I'm cultivating what I am planting. So it's very beautiful to just know that there is no pain or no growth that comes without pain. You understand me? Growth will call you to come out of your comfort zone. Growth will call you to make sacrifices. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice, whether it's financially, whether it's monetarily. When you have access to resources that are given to you for free, you cannot use time as an excuse anymore. You can't use money as an excuse anymore. It is left for you to say, okay, I have gotten these things. How can I make time to utilize these things? You can start small. Sometimes we are saying we don't have money, but sometimes what you need to grow, even for your children, are free books, free resources that you can tap into. Start with yourself. Don't even look at your children, your spouse. Start with yourself. How can I grow as a mother? How can I grow as a person? What book do I need to grow? Do I need in this particular time of my life? There are some cascading goals that I need to have. There are some catalytic goals that I need to have. There are some goals that I need to follow through for 12 months, and I have to do something about it every single day. And there are some goals that I just need to set for 3 months and I'm done. And there are some goals that are long term goals, and I have to work on it. So, doing exercise, there are tasks that are being given that I can give myself and say, I want to do these things. And then I go on YouTube. There are thousands and one videos that you can watch today that will change your life right there for free on YouTube. There are books that you can download on PDF drive for free. There are things that you can do, webinars, courses that you can take. Why are you procrastinating on it? Why not take action today? Can we just, pay attention to the right attitudes that we should have? We have everything we need sometimes. Even in our parenting journey, what kind of attitude do you really have? Are you sarcastic about it? Do you just do not pay attention to the growth strategy that you have as a parent? How can you put up a great strategy for your children when you have nothing for yourself going on? Because sometimes we don't understand that discipline is not about spanking and hitting the children and shouting on them, hurling on them, telling them this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. What if I myself I am caught up doing those things that I don't want my children to do? What if you're actually caught up in those things that you don't want your children to do and you expect them to obey you? The goal is really not about obedience. It should be about what the scripture says. Children, honor your father and your mother. And if we want our children to honor us, we have to, showcase the right attitude. We have to create a conducive environment of growth at home. Your children have to see you, catch you reading. If you are evaluating yourself, if you are reflecting on yourself, you are definitely going to say of a truth, I am making progress. So, can we determine where to focus our energy on? You need to determine it. What areas of your children's life, what areas of your parenting needs to, and this is first about you. It begins with you. This parenting thing begins with me. It begins with you. So design a plan for growth and tell yourself, I'm going to focus on this growth level for myself and for my children. And you're going to see transformation happening in 1 year because you decided to pay attention to what really matters for you. Am I speaking to somebody this morning? So Can you tell me what is that one thing that I have said today that stuck out for you? I have said a lot of things like growth requires sacrifice. It requires some level of deliberate action from you. You need to take action. You need to have an action plan. You need to have the right attitude. You can't fold your hands and expect that things will change because it will not come on a platter of gold. What sacrifices are you willing to make? How deliberate are you towards making these sacrifices? So, can we just pay attention? And I trust that if we really pay attention to it, our lives will not remain the same. Thank you so much for your time. I love you all. Peace out.